Hey everyone, it's Sarah, and today I am back with another Chatty Get Ready With Me or weekly catch-up. I don't even know where to start with this one. So much has gone on in this past week and a half. It's just been crazy. I'm gonna get you zoomed in here. So, gosh, I don't even know where to start. We got wrecked by that hurricane. I had been seeing, because I don't know if it was this past winter, I think it was this past winter, or possibly the winter before. I started following a couple of meteorologists on TikTok because they were super accurate. Like every time something would be coming, and it was in the winter time, and it was mostly when snowstorms would be coming. It was when New York got hit really bad. I think it was last year. It could have been the year before. But these two people in particular were always just super, super accurate. So I was like, well, I'm going to start following them because they clearly know what they're talking about, way better than the news weather does. So anyways, I saw them it was a couple days before the hurricane was gonna hit, and they were saying you guys, I don't think that people are prepared for this one. This is looking this one is looking like it's gonna be way worse than is even being predicted. And I even told my husband, I was like, these meteorologists on TikTok are saying that this one's gonna be really bad. That it's supposed to be really big, and that it's not going to really slow down when it makes landfall, which is not normal for a hurricane. We always get the runoff of hurricanes up here, but we never get hit with an actual hurricane. We're too far inland. Even when when South Carolina, the coast, and North Carolina coast gets wrecked, we're just too far inland. We just don't get it, because by the time the winds get here, it's just died down so much. This time it was crazy, and I saw these meteorologists were saying, this is going to be bad. This is going to be bad way inland because this is such a powerful hurricane. It's not going to slow down much when it makes landfall, and it's going to turn. And I could see on their projection models that a whole arm of the hurricane was going to swing up across the upstate of South Carolina. And I was like, that's us. I picked this up at the Dollar Tree a while ago. This is the Clean Beauty by Be Pure Fun in the Sun Lip Color and Cream Blush Trio. So I'm going to use this today. It's funny because when I did my Shein video, I used these Ioni blushes that I picked up at Dollar Tree too. These things are amazing. I'll use these maybe next week. I'll use the highlighter today. These makeup products, these are awesome. Yeah, I've been loving them. But anyways, and my husband's like, it's not going to come up here. It's not going to be that bad. And oh my gosh, little did we know. So I woke up that morning. My husband was already up. His alarm went off. And I was sleeping, and I felt the overhead fan go off. And I knew, I was like, oh no, the power just went out. So I jumped out of bed, and I went out, came out in the living room, and I was like, did the power just go out? And my husband's like, yep. And so he goes, and it's starting to it's pouring rain. The winds are crazy. It's like hurricane outside. My husband just starts getting ready for work, and I was like, you're not going into work, are you? And he was like, yeah, everybody's there. I have to. And I was like, what? It's crazy out there. There's an actual hurricane happening outside. And he was like, well, I have to go. Us Gen X people, we are not going to be the only ones that don't show up for work. We're not going to be the sissy that doesn't show up for work. And that's, basically where my husband was coming from. I'm not going to be the one that doesn't show up for work because of a hurricane. So anyways, he gets ready and he goes in, and because nobody took it seriously, people didn't stock up on gas, people really didn't stock up on groceries, like nothing. Nobody here was prepared for it at all. So of course, after everything died down, everybody panicked. Power was out literally everywhere. There were nothing was open. There was no, I also picked these up. These are the bronzer drops from, they're supposed to be the Drunk Elephant dupe. And I used these in that Shein video too, but then I realized I read the thing that they sent over, and I was not allowed to use anything else or show any other brands. So I had to edit that out. But anyways, these bronzer drops are pretty freaking awesome. I really love them. They're a little bit glowy and just so good. So anyways, my husband had a quarter tank of gas. He drives a 4Runner, so that's a gas guzzler. So he calls me at about, I don't know, 3:30, and he was like, hey, can you come pick me up? I'm out of gas. And I was like, are you serious? Oh my gosh. And I was like a little bit scared because I didn't know what it looked like out there. I didn't know if I knew there were a lot of trees down. And so I was like, yeah, okay, I'll be there in just a little bit. So he made it down to an Ingles, like down the way, so I didn't have to go very far. But then he was like, I'm gonna have to go find a gas can because like, I'm out of gas. And I was like, well, good luck finding gas. All the gas stations are closed. Like there's nothing open. So thank goodness Lowe's was open, because I guess Lowe's has generators. So Lowe's was open. So he was able to find a gas can at Lowe's, thank goodness. And then there was one gas station open in Boiling Springs, and the line to get in there was insane. And I told my husband, let's go home and wait for some of this insane, because it was like right when everybody was getting off work, the people that did go into work. I was like, let's go home and just kind of wait for some of this insanity to like stop, to die down, and then we'll go back out. And he was like, yeah, but if we do that, then by the time we come back out, like all the gas is going to be gone. And I was like, well, I don't want to wait in line for 3 hours to get some gas. So we came home and we sat in the dark for a little while. And I was like, let's go back out at about 7, I guess. So we headed back out at about 7, and oh my gosh, the line, it still took us 2 hours to get gas. But he was able to fill his gas can and then top me off, which was good, because I spent the next 5 days going out. We would get ourselves ready in the morning. I would take a cold shower every single day, and then we would venture out to see if anything was open, to see if we could find food. We didn't have any groceries in the house. Like, we didn't have anything. There was no fresh fruit. We did have a cooler, and I was able to save a carton of eggs, some cottage cheese, and milk, because I have to have milk for my coffee. That was all I was able to save and get into my cooler. We had to trash everything else in the freezer and in the refrigerator. It was so sad. It was just awful. It was awful. But the whole time we are like, dude, we are not going to complain, because people just north of us are like, towns are gone. Chimney Rock is gone. I saw a video of it very early on of somebody who lived there who was showing the dam. And I still don't know if the dam broke or if it just like was breached. I'm not sure. The person that took the video said that the dam broke, but then other people said that no, it didn't break. But it doesn't matter. The destruction is complete. Like, the whole town is gone, which is really sad, because we lived about 20 minutes from Chimney Rock when we lived in North Carolina, which I'm going to drive up. I want to just check on our old house, because I know the lady that bought it doesn't live there. It's just like empty. So I want to check on our old house just to see, like, and I don't even know what Tryon looks like. I don't know if they got hit really hard or what. I'm sure they did, because oh gosh, wind is always really bad in Cheyenne, and it floods really easily up there. So I'm just really nervous about what our old house looks like. I hope it's not like wrecked. But anyways, we lived only about 20 minutes from Chimney Rock, so we would drive into Chimney Rock, well, into Lake Lure a lot to like eat and stuff, and we just loved it up there. My husband and I, like one of our very first dates that we ever went on was we hiked all the way to the top of Chimney Rock. So just to, like when Charlotte was about 2 years old, we took her up there. It was fall time, and we took her up there to, you know, just to kind of see leaves, and we got hot chocolate, and like, I'm really, really sad about it. It's awful. Asheville, my husband has a friend that lives up in Asheville. His girlfriend works for like one of the worst companies ever. In fact, my husband applied there one time, and I think he had a phone interview with them, and he said he just got really bad vibes from like the management. He felt like it was a shady company, and wasn't feeling it. And that company is Black Diamond. They make headlamps, and my husband used to keep their headlamps. They make camping gear and stuff. And those used to be his favorite headlamps. And then after he had that phone interview with them, and he had bad vibes from them, he like got rid of all of his Black Diamond headlamps and like replaced them all with something else. Like he felt that strongly about it, which is crazy because apparently his friend Jason's girlfriend worked for Black Diamond. She did digital marketing, or she did something from home. And apparently they took the insurance money. I guess they got an insurance payout for the disaster, took the insurance money and just fired everybody on the spot and just closed up shop. Just fired everybody, and yep. So, it's crazy. Asheville is a hot mess. Greenville, South Carolina, which is just 15 minutes up the road from us, hot mess. Like, it is so bad. We were out of power for 5 days. We didn't have internet for 6 days. It was fine. And again, the whole time we were like, we're just so grateful. We're just so grateful because we know that it is so much worse in other places. There's a lot of stuff starting to come out about just about stuff that's going on, things that have been happening, and it's really, really awful. You see the best in humanity with people helping each other, people with helicopters bringing supplies into people that are trapped on the tops of the mountains and stuff. But you also see the worst in people, especially the government agencies. And that's the thing that is the one thing that we've really learned through all this, is that we do not need help from government agencies. Like, we are fine. We can take care of ourselves by ourselves. We can take care of each other. We don't need government. So anyways, yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. It's been rough. I still think about it and can't believe we got hit by a hurricane, but we actually did, this far inland. And it's just wild. It really is. I've heard that they're denying the FEMA money to basically everybody. I've heard that pretty much nobody has been approved for it. So, yeah, that's great. On a completely different note, oh my gosh, there is a man named, I think his name is Joe something, and he is somebody that was apparently at Kurt Cobain's house the night that he was, and he agreed to be interviewed, and it's really, really hard to watch. You can watch it on YouTube. I can't remember what the channel is. It's like a brand new channel, and the person who started the channel, it's only got 2 videos on it. It's got the interview with him and then one other one. And oh gosh, gosh, it's hard to watch because he, the guy being interviewed, his name is Joe. I'm pretty sure that he's messed up on H really badly the whole time, and he's like trying to articulate everything that he's saying, but it can be very hard to follow him sometimes. I definitely got the whole gist of the story though, and I'm not even a little bit surprised. He claims that he was there. So apparently when Kurt Cobain had gone kind of missing, and this is for if you don't know anything about this story, I would tell you to go watch the series that I did on it, but it's sadly, I should make that series public again. I'll make that series public again on that channel. Yeah, I'll do that because it was good. I did a 3-part series on Kurt Cobain. But anyways, those of you that did watch it, so we know that there was a whole group of people at his house that were there basically just like partying. And apparently Kurt Cobain was staying somewhere else. He was like trying to lay low. He was trying to stay hidden from Courtney and the people that she was paying to try to find him. And apparently he showed back up at his house one night, I think just to eat. And when he got there, this guy Joe was there. He was a tattoo artist. He and his girlfriend were there, and he was tattooing Callie DeWitt, who is CL's go boy, basically. He just did everything for her. He was technically the nanny, but he wasn't nannying. He was there at her house, I think, waiting to see if Kurt came back. But I'm going to be using this palette here. This is the Lorac Noir palette. I love this. I'm wearing this cute little like leopard, I'll show you, this cute little leopard dress. So I was thinking like a cool toned eye look, and I think I'm going to use this berry red lipstick that Tatiana sent over. Anyways, this Joe man was there. He was tattooing Callie DeWitt. And he said that Kurt came home and he was in the kitchen eating. And the guy who was interviewing him asks him, do you remember what he was eating? And he said, yeah, I think he was eating fruit and a like frozen Marie Callender's dinner. He said it was either like the turkey and mashed potatoes or fried chicken and mashed potatoes, something like that. And apparently that's what they found in his stomach when they did the autopsy. Now, I don't know for sure because I can't remember if the autopsy is sealed or what. But anyways, so he said that Dylan Carlson, who is supposedly Kirk's best friend, who is definitely not his best friend, that dude, oh my gosh, showed up with another guy that they didn't recognize. And I think Joe said that he was somebody that Courtney had hired to try to find Kurt. And they show up at the house, and they apparently get Kurt to go upstairs, which is presumably where they all partook in H, and gave him a dose that would have, OD'd him. And he said at that point that Callie was telling everybody that they needed to leave, telling Joe, we need to get out of here, we need to leave. And Joe said that he felt like something bad was happening, basically, like he didn't feel comfortable leaving because he just knew something was going down. And Callie kept telling everybody, we need to leave, we need to leave. And he and his girlfriend Bonnie were like, I think they were maybe out in the I don't know, but he said that he saw Dylan and the guy that he came with carrying Kurt down the stairs, and because he couldn't walk, he was probably already from the massive dose. But they said that he says that he saw him carrying him down the stairs, and they're pretty sure that he carried him up to the greenhouse. Not pretty sure, he knows that they carried him up to the greenhouse. He said that they were standing there, they were all kind of milling about, like getting ready to, like kind of clearing out, and that's when he heard the pow, pow, pow. So I think the truth is gonna come out. Whether anything happens to CL, I just seriously doubt that anything's ever gonna happen to her. I'm pretty sure that she hired, like whatever happened, I'm sure that she is behind it. I'm quite sure. It was really interesting too, because Joe said that Kurt was talking to Callie, and he was talking about how he had this demo tape, and something about like Kurt was going to start his own little record label in Seattle, and he was going to start producing his own music and he had already made a demo tape where he played all the instruments, he did all the vocals. It was just him. He was a one-man show, and he was going to try to I guess he was going to try to have it produced under this little record label that I think was going to be his record label. Yeah, so for the people that like wonder what the motive would be, there's so much. He was their cash cow. He was the talent, and he was not happy in that band anymore. He did not want to be in that band anymore. Especially because I'm pretty sure he and DG, if you guys know who I'm talking about, Foo Fighters, they didn't like each other. I'm pretty sure, like allegedly. I'm gonna say allegedly. I don't believe they liked each other. And I know that they didn't. I know that DG did not like Kurt Cobain. He did not like him. And so Kurt Cobain just wanted out. He just wanted out. And they were not going to allow the cash cow to go. So, and then in the comment section, this is wild. In the comment section of that interview video, there's a woman who, she says she was 19 back then, and that she was being Traffiked, if is that how you spell it? Yeah. And that she claims that she was there as well. She claims that CL made her write part of that note. It's wild, you guys. It's just wild. There's so much stuff coming out, but this woman, and I, whether she's telling the truth or not, I don't know, but she seems like she knows things that she wouldn't know any other way. So I don't know, there's just a lot of wild stuff coming out, and oh gosh, I think it's gonna come out. But Tom Grant, see, and that's the thing, all that time that Dylan Carlson spent with Tom Grant riding around looking for Kurt when Dylan knew exactly where he was, which is why Tom Grant always found it very suspicious that Dylan never even mentioned that the greenhouse existed, because of course Tom Grant didn't know that the greenhouse even existed. And the fact that they went to that house, they walked all over that home, and he never once mentioned the greenhouse because he knew that Kurt was in that greenhouse. He knew exactly where he was because he's the one that did it. Allegedly, in my opinion. That's another thing. The guy, Joe, the guy that was being interviewed, I think he said he grew up with Dylan, or he had known him for a very long time. And he said that dude is sketch, that he is scary smart, and has no remorse. So basically like a psychopath. Surprise, surprise. So yeah, if you guys are interested, I'll link that interview for you if you're interested and want to see it. It's wild. I mean, that's all that we needed, was somebody like him to come out, somebody who had been there, that knows. I wonder if Tom Grant has tried to get a hold of him yet, or has tried to talk to him. This dude, he's like, he's not even that old, but just a lifetime of doing hard drugs has definitely taken its toll on him. And it's hard to watch. It's a hard interview to watch. Like, he's missing one of his arms. You can see he's got like a hospital bracelet on his wrist where he must have just gotten out of the hospital or something. I'm not gonna lie, it is difficult to watch. He has his eyes closed most of the time because he's so messed up that he can't, he just like can't even keep his eyes open. But I 100% think that he's telling the truth, for sure. And you can see that he's scared. He's like nervous that he's even talking about it, because, well, I would be scared too if after all these years I was talking about something that I had seen. But that means, I don't know if his girlfriend at the time, her name is Bonnie, I don't know if she's still around, but if so, she's another witness. I knew that there are other witnesses out there that had seen it, and the truth will come to light. I don't know if they're all gonna go down for it, but seeing what's happening with Diddy right now is giving me hope that maybe some justice will be served. I don't know, but okay, I think that's all I'm gonna do with my eyes today. I think just a pretty, simple, cool tone. I'm going with some, gosh darn. And then also on TikTok, if you guys are not on TikTok, I don't know why. TikTok, I will stand by this and I will say this with my whole being. TikTok is the best social media platform, hands down. I love YouTube, don't get me wrong. I love YouTube for long form content, and there's so much good stuff on YouTube, and it seems like they've kind of lightened up a little bit on the censorship a little bit. So don't get me wrong, I do love TikTok, or I do love YouTube, but gosh, TikTok, the amount of perspectives that you can get on TikTok from just all walks of people, the information that you can find on there, it's incredible. But anyways, there's this girl who lives in this house. This is wild. I don't know if she bought the house or if she's renting it, but she lives in this house. She's in Ohio, and she and I believe her boyfriend were digging holes because they were going to put in a new fence. So they're digging holes, and while they're digging, they found a rolled up rug. And they immediately stopped digging, and she was like, I'm gonna call the police because this doesn't feel right. This is sketch. So she calls the police, and she's like, she tells them basically, we were digging and we found this rolled up rug. Do you want to send somebody out to look at it? And the police were basically like, no, not really. We don't really care. So she was like, okay. So she starts posting on TikTok about it, and people are losing their minds, oh my gosh, you have to dig it up yourself then. And she's like, I don't want to dig this thing up myself. This is sketch. And she works from home, and she has a home office. And one night while she was asleep, she doesn't know what happened, but somebody destroyed her office, threw her desk across the room, destroyed her laptop computer. And there's no way anybody could have gotten in, so she's convinced it is a ghost that did it, right? So at this point, she's posting about this rug every single day. Well, local news caught wind of it, and they started reporting about it on the news. Well, of course, because they reported about it on the news, now the police feel like they need to get involved. So they send police over. The police look at it, and they're immediately like, this is sketch. Let's get some cadaver dogs. So they get a cadaver dog over there, and of course the cadaver dog sniffs around, immediately goes and sits on top of the hole, alerts to it. So she was on live. She was on TikTok live at that point, and her her mouth just literally dropped. So they were like, okay, well, let's get another cadaver dog just to make sure. So they get a second cadaver dog, and oh my gosh, the second cadaver dog alerts to the hole. So now they're pretty sure that, I mean, it has to be human remains, I'm pretty sure, because she's like, well, maybe somebody just bled a lot on the rug or no. I don't think that that's how it works. I'm not, I don't, I'm not an expert on cadaver dogs, but I'm pretty sure that cadaver dogs are trained to detect nothing but human remains. So I am almost positive that those are human remains in that freaking rug. And so anyways, they taped it all off. It's like a crime scene. They taped it all off. They're waiting for, I think they're gonna call in homicide, like forensics. They're gonna call in a bunch of people. So they taped it all off, and then 3 police officers slept outside her house that night, which was just last night, in their vehicles. Obviously, they wanted to make sure that nobody messed with the scene or whatever. So that is currently ongoing. It's freaking wild. Like, golly. I'm super interested to see how it's going to play out. That's another thing. News crews were at our house. Like, I mean, it's wild. It's like national news at this point. It's viral on TikTok. But anyways, oh gosh, I feel like I've been talking a ton, but this is just what's been going on. It's been wild around here. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a long while before even we recover from this hurricane. I can't even tell you guys the amount of trees that came down. I've never seen anything like it. Just trees flattened. Huge trees too, just ripped out of the ground. Like, it's just wild. It's gonna be a long road ahead of us, and there are still people without power. They're saying that hopefully they'll have power restored to everybody by tonight. It's Friday. By tonight at 11:45 p.m. or something. So there are people that are still without power. It's just been crazy. I don't know if I should put on maybe a gloss before I put this lipstick on. We're gonna see. I don't know if I'm gonna keep this color on or not. I don't know if it's gonna look good. I think it is though. But yeah, Tennessee, oh my gosh, East Tennessee just got wrecked. Like, you're not gonna be able to drive, unless you wanna take back roads, you're not gonna be able to drive from North Carolina into Tennessee. And we've gone that way so many times because that's how we get into like Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge, which is such a fun place, which also I think had massive flooding. But I-40 is completely washed out. And they're saying it's going to be 2 years before they can get it repaired. It's just crazy. Who would have ever thought that we would have a massive hurricane in the mountains? And it's funny, somebody asked me how I was able to charge my phone. We spent a lot of time in the car. That's the only way I was able to keep my phone charged. This is such a pretty red. It's just so like vibrant and berry-like. Yeah, we sat in the car a lot. We rode around a lot looking for supplies, looking for fresh food. That's really all I wanted was fresh food because snacks got old quick. But we were just basically eating anything. Like, we could get anything at a gas station. Target opened up, I think, the next day, but everybody had to throw out all of their fresh food. So you couldn't get fresh food at all. But yeah, we spent a lot of time in the car charging our phones because that's the only thing that kept us sane. It made me feel like I had a link to the outside world, that I could see what was happening. It was crazy. Anyways, guys, that is, it got hot all of a sudden. That is makeup done. I love how the eyes turned out. I love a cool toned eye look. That usually looks pretty good on me too. I did pretty minimal base makeup, but I just leave it like that. And I love that lip shade. It's so pretty. So anyways, you guys, I do hope that you all enjoyed this. I hope that you are all doing so good. If you are in Western North Carolina, upstate South Carolina, Tennessee, Florida, any of the states that were affected by Helene, I am sending out all of my prayers. I hope that you guys are able to get back up on your feet as soon as possible, and just with the least amount of stress possible. But anyways, I do hope that you all enjoyed this. If you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.